In this episode of Getting to Know the TS27, I answer a fuck ton of questions that you guys left me from the last video. Seriously, I love the interaction that you guys have, and I'm glad that you enjoy this series and asking me questions. Don't be shy. If you have another question for next episode, I will be sure to get to it. Now, in order to answer these fuck ton of questions, I have to supply you with a fuck ton of Modern Warfare 3 gameplay. I hope you guys enjoyed in the background. Let's get started now. Fedora Ferret is up first, and he asks, Kate Upton or Melanie Iglesias? Well, here's the two side by side. While I generally prefer blonde chicks, I like Melanie Iglesias better. Curves trumps hair color any fucking day of the week. Ray's Gaming Channel, do you believe in Area 51? Well, there has been evidence recently that has been declassified or, I guess, disseminated by the government of the quote-unquote official purpose of Area 51, and that's to be flying and testing experimental aircraft. I don't believe that the U.S. is covering up any extraterrestrial life in that military base in Nevada. It's definitely a military base, and I think that's what the purpose for it is. Just like I said in the previous Getting to Know, I think it was number 23 or so. You'll have to go back and check it out. I don't prescribe to most conspiracy theories. They're mostly debunked or circumstantial evidence that wouldn't be permissible in a court of law. And on top of that, my dad used to work for Northrop Grumman, which was a military contractor for planes. And he has told me that there have been several times that aircraft that his company was making that was being tested had been reported as, aliens or unidentified flying objects. Now, whether they were over Nevada or not, I'm not really sure, but I know that at least has happened before. That is something that is definitely true. That being said, I do think that there is the possibility of extraterrestrial life. The problem is that any planet that might have the conditions to conceive life as we know it is millions of light years away. There would be no way to interact with said species, and who knows if that evolutionary process was the same as ours. Life as we know it is a very narrow spectrum, and there could be other formulas for life that we don't yet know about, so it's pretty open-ended out there, especially with how vast space is. But anyways, that's a whole nother subject. I plow fat apes. You found out that Ms. Schwantz is a tranny. How would you react? Well, I can guarantee you that she's not a tranny. I've seen her naked before. Well, anyway, when I think of a tranny, I think it's somebody that has all the parts of a woman except where it counts. Dick like a man. If you're referring to cross-dressing, though, then honestly I wouldn't be that surprised, considering that she is a fashion designer for men's clothing. But yeah, I wouldn't think anything less of it. It would be, something that was a little bit strange, but hey, she wears my sweatshirts every once in a while anyways. Pico210, another personal question about my wife. Do you and your wife have an agreement on which celebrity you're allowed to cheat with? If so, whom is it and why? Well, we don't have such an agreement, but I do know that she loves Johnny Depp. Any movie that he's in, she loves, even if it's horrible. Secret Window. Excuse me. I'm not much of a celebrity chaser. In fact, I fucking hate the American obsession over people that, quite frankly, aren't that fucking important. But, that being said, I just watched the movie The Island the other day, and Scarlett Johansson was hot as fuck in that movie, so I'll go with her. Ricardo Munoz. Well, my question is, who do you think is in line to win the NBA championship? I don't fucking give a shit. I don't watch the NBA anymore. Hockey is much more exciting to watch, and the league itself has much better competition to it. There is literally no point in playing the regular season for the NBA. Seriously, just pick like the top 4 or 5 teams in each league and have the playoffs. There's a huge disparity between the top teams, then 30 feet of shit, and then the rest of the league. Seriously, Milwaukee only won 15 fucking games last year, and Philly lost like 26 games in a row. Then you have teams like San Antonio and Oklahoma City that win 60 out of 82. It's a fucking joke. I'd want anyone but Miami to win, because their philosophy of having superstars team up is destroying the league. Tyler Johnson, now that social media plays a substantial role in today's society, to what extent does it have on the impact of the video game industry and video game communities? It's huge going forward. I think Titanfall is doing an awesome job about their interactions on Twitter. Every once in a while they might skip a comment here and there, but I usually get a response from the official Titanfall Twitter, especially during the beta. They were extremely helpful. Battlefield is actually pretty good about Twitter too, and they also do a lot of things on Battlelog. They do a lot of posts letting the community know what's going on. Call of Duty, on the other hand, fucking sucks. Mark Rubin hasn't tweeted since fucking the end of November. That is a joke. At the same time, though, think of the fan base for these games. The immature kids love Call of Duty, and there's no reason to have somebody respond to petulant complainers all the fucking time. And think about how Call of Duty players act towards one another over Twitter. People threatening to DDoS other players and hold accounts and talking shit over Twitter. This kind of shit does not happen in Battlefield or Titanfall. And that's because the community for Call of Duty is a fucking disaster. It's a goddamn toxic disease. It's all these fucking little shits that think that just because their entire lives are Call of Duty, that other people's entire lives are Call of Duty. So that when they threaten them and say, oh, my edict is huge, how big is yours? Yeah, it's non-existent, that they actually fucking care to mean something. Here's a fucking fact. I'm gonna make more money off of my actual job and doing YouTube as a hobby than you can if you practice for 20 hours a fucking day for the next year and a half to try and play Call of Duty. Why don't you fucking put that in your pipe and smoke it, bitch? Anyways, back to my main point. Communication between the consumer and the developer is going to be key going forward. It's been shown by the latest sale prices on Call of Duty and Battlefield. I mean, Call of Duty's what, $20 if you go to GameStop now? People won't buy games that they don't enjoy and are made poorly. Publishers have to slash the prices on games just so that people will buy them to get any amount of revenue back in their pockets just to make some money. But the principle remains. If you don't listen to the people who are buying your product, and believe me, there's plenty of ways that they could get feedback now, your game will not sell. Mitch Blaska asks, do you like other YouTubers? In my opinion, most of the content is complete garbage. I totally agree with you. Lots of YouTubers are doing the same cookie cutter shit. Most content creators are too fucking lazy to try and open up their minds and imaginations and push the envelope and try new things. Most commentators go, hey, what's working lately? Oh, I'm going to try this, that, or the other thing. You see a lot of people biting off of other people's styles. Like, for example, Eddie the Chump recently has a style that it's not originally his own, but he definitely adapted it from his influences. There are literally people that just took his style and just copied it exactly. I also was just watching another YouTube channel, I won't name drop, but they do the same exact thing as Keemstar does with his drama alert. Are you fucking kidding me, dude? How is anybody supposed to take you fucking seriously when you're doing the exact same shit that somebody has already done, but even fucking worse than they're doing it? See, now, I do have a certain style for my videos, but I'd like to think that I try and do things outside of the box, and every once in a while I do these one-offs and I try different series. I used to get comments at times of, dude, why are you so, like, loud and shit? Why aren't you just a chill dude like CNanners? Well, because CNanners is already doing that. You can't do the same exact thing that somebody else already does because that's already their niche. They've already carved that out. You have to pave a new way and do something different in order to have a following and to have a fan base. The other thing is, fans don't want people to change or do anything. There have been recent comments on some of my videos on OP saying that we should have stuck to pub stomping and what are you guys doing out there? But in reality, pub stomping content is fucking boring. Seeing the same old fucking gameplay over and over again with, you know, the same, like, stable of commentators just spewing meaningless shit, it gets tired after a while. It gets stale. You gotta push the envelope. You gotta do something different. Plus, the people that were running the channel didn't want to do that kind of content anymore because it is stale, it is boring, it's fucking repetitive. But sometimes the viewers are too fucking narrow-minded and just want everybody to do the same exact thing. Well, guess what? That's not not how it fucking works. Because then, one, nobody will grow and stand out, and then two, you'll have an infinitely larger cesspool of content than what's already out there on YouTube. To address the other point that you have, people act like they have a fucking busy life, but really, they upload every couple of days with a shit video. Now, YouTube isn't really a viable source of income anymore, and people will need to supplant that with an actual job. I have a full-time job and can upload pretty much daily. Some people need to take more time and effort to make their videos, and I'll cut them a little bit of slack. Because I'm pretty creative, and I kind of know my niche, and I've determined a style that I could easily replicate. But when content creators make shitty videos and cry about how they're not growing, they just need to take a fucking look inwards. It's fine to not do videos all the goddamn time, but don't bitch that you can't get to the next fucking milestone. Executioner asks, do you find gaming as exciting as it was when you were younger, or not as much nowadays? I actually still find gaming really exciting for the fact that gaming now is much more social than it was in the past. By that I mean I can always game with my buddies in the crew from around the world. Multiplayer online games are different each time you play, so each single game is different than any other game you've played before, so it's always something new. When we were kids, games were much more focused on the gameplay itself and the story, because graphics were an afterthought due to limitations of systems and hardware. Plus, the gaming industry is much more commercially viable now, so the people in it are trying to make as much profit as possible. That means pushing product out the door to meet deadlines, meaning also shittier products, as we've seen with the launch of Battlefield 4 and the abysmal failure of Ghosts. But, like I said, when you add the social aspect into it, to be able to play with people all over the world, to me, it's just as exciting as ever. T.I. Crimson, since Titans seem to be the new thing here, Schwantz, let me ask you, what would you do with the Titan? Well, I'd make him dust all of my high-to-reach places in the house. I hate getting up on that fucking ladder. Sciatus asks, here's a unique question. What gun from a video game would you like to own? Not specifically Call of Duty or Titanfall. He later went on to say it could be a tool or an item. So, I'd love to have the Epic from Chrono Trigger. Being able to travel in time would be fucking sick. Plus, it's a spaceship, for fuck's sake. That's even better than the goddamn DeLorean. Fuck you, Back to the Future. Skag3, my question for next time is, do you think Sledgehammer can possibly make a worse Call of Duty than Ghost, or has Call of Duty finally hit rock bottom? Honestly, after Black Ops 2, I didn't think it was possible to make a worse Call of Duty game. All it needed to do was function properly. I didn't give a shit about the perks or the kill streaks or any of that. Just give me some good hit detection and gameplay mechanics. And Ghost delivered on that. But the game is fucking awful anyway. Call of Duty has jumped the shark, turned it over, and fucked it in the ass by now. Call of Duty, to me, is completely dead. Their last chance was Black Ops 2, believe it or not, because the last Call of Duty game that I really, really enjoyed, and I thought it was great, was Modern Warfare 2. Now, there were times when I did enjoy, Modern Warfare 3, and to a lesser extent, I rarely enjoyed Black Ops and Black Ops 2. So for me, the franchise has been continually declining for the past 4 years. Ghost is not even on my radar anymore. I have not played it other than the one free DLC weekend since probably January. I am almost all out of Call of Duty Ghost gameplays, which is pathetic considering I normally have stockpiles of gameplays up. I don't even play the game anymore. I am completely uninterested and unexcited in the next Call of Duty game, even though I do really like the storyline that they are trying to push and they're trying to come out with. To me, Battlefield 4 and Titanfall can easily take up my time for the next year. Unless this Call of Duty is as good as Modern Warfare 2 when it comes out, I'll pass. Jacob Tooley, I don't remember if you've done this, but if you were in charge of the next Call of Duty or Battlefield, what features would you put in the next game to make it better from Ghost or Battlefield 4? Next Call of Duty, keep it simple. Rein the shit in. Reward players that push the pace of the game and minimize annoyances. Those are extremely high-level overviews, but I'm not going to delve into all the details because as long as you adopt that gaming philosophy, I think you'll be okay. For the next Battlefield game, work on the engine. Frostbite 3 is amazing, but it's caused a shitload of issues. I'd also reduce the amount of shit in the game as well. There's no reason to have 13 different fucking knives. I'd also make more well-rounded maps for all game modes because they really focused on obliteration and domination this time around and didn't do a great job on Rush. There are lots of things that I like from this Battlefield game. Just all the little nuances there, like the skull icons in the corner when your teammates are dead, the little spawn camera that is on there. You know, there's a lot of things that are really good in Battlefield 4, but of course, the engine needs to be worked on the most. Lucas Sazult, I have no idea how to pronounce your name. Do you gonna get Battlefield 5, Call of Duty MW4, or Titanfall 2? Out of those lists, probably only Titanfall 2 at this point. I'm not getting the next Call of Duty game, like I said earlier. And for the next Battlefield game, I'm going to hold off on it for now because it's obvious there needs to be assurances of quality control before launch. I'm sick of giving my money to companies that continuously fuck things up. Titanfall for me has been a very smooth launch, including alpha and beta, and there's nothing that I could think that's really too terribly wrong with it. I can nitpick here and there, but to me, it's an extremely well-rounded and balanced game. He also asked, do you think Putin is a dickhead? I honestly don't know much about Putin, other than conservative people seem to love him because he rides horses without his shirt on and invades countries just because he's having a midlife crisis after botching the hotel rooms in the Olympics. J Sugar 01, what country do you think is currently better economically, the United States or Canada? Well, here's another question that I really can't answer because of ignorance, but I'll throw out some figures I found after some research. The US is running a budget deficits like the Patriots, while Canada actually has had a surplus for the past 10 years. Canada spends more than 36% of its GDP compared to 31% of the GDP in the US. So how the fuck is there a surplus for them and a deficit for us? Well, government-controlled healthcare has kept costs down, plus the rich are taxed more heavily than in the US, despite the fact that the majority of citizens, like in, the 50th percentile and below, have the same taxation rate between the two countries. That is your answer right there, folks. As of this time, $1 US is worth 1.09 Canadian dollars, so the dollar is stronger, but it's nowhere near as much as it was when I went to Montreal on spring break. $20 lap dances were really only about 12 US dollars. Canada's unemployment rate is lower by only 0.2%, so that's negligible. Wealth is more highly concentrated in the US. However, the median worker has essentially the same purchasing power in each nation. One thing the US has going for it, the standard of living. The US is 4th while Canada is 8th based on the UN Human Development Index. The average income is slightly higher in the United States. However, Canadian median family income surpassed that of the US by approximately 10%. Canada also has more home ownership compared to the United States. Take those facts, draw your own conclusions. GOVHQ, here's a question to you. I was just recently become a member of Equestrian Entertainment on YouTube. My question to you is, what do you think of Bronies and My Little Pony? I won't hate you if you have an answer that's negative. Well, I have no issues with Bronies or My Little Pony. It's just not my thing. And I don't see how people could find it charming or anything. But honestly, guys, do you need to make fun of it because it's quote-unquote gay? You're just a fucking idiot. I bet you if you asked every dude at some point in their life, they've enjoyed a chick flick. I mean, Mean Girls just had its 10th anniversary recently. That is my favorite chick flick. And I'm not afraid to admit it while fapping to the main characters in the movie. Steve Pugh, question. If you had a choice, what would you rather have? The body of a monkey or the head of the monkey? A body, of course. I want to have a sexy-ass motherfucking face, but be able to scale trees and jump from branch to branch. I could never do the swinging rings in gym class. Serial Assassin. If you could come back in your next life as an animal, what animal would it be? Another animal question here. I'd love to be a bird. This way I could just fly into nice weather and away from how hot or cold it gets here in New York. Of course, I do not like that falling feeling, so I'm going to need a lot of flight practice time in order to get it so that my stomach doesn't feel like it's in my fucking face. Colossal Crib. My brother is a Freemason. He knows stuff. Yeah, okay, buddy. Yeah, I'm just messing around with you. Anyways, question. When did you start playing the guitar and what's your favorite style? Plucking the strings or power chords for the win? Well, I started playing guitar in college when I moved in with my roommates that already knew how to play. They taught me how to read a tab, which is pretty easy, and then I taught myself the rest. My favorite style to play is an alternate picking kind of metal style. Think the Crazy Train riff. Or Creeping Death. Or Waking the Demon. Palm muting every other note and just letting out flurries of different notes on the non-palm muted ones is literally my favorite thing to do on guitar. It's really not that hard of a technique to learn, but once you figure it out, you can make anything sound fucking badass. I'm not much for finger picking except for the intro to Stairway to Heaven, and nothing else matters. Power chords are pretty easy, but they get sort of repetitive and get you really stuck in a box. Learn your scales and you'll get some flair to your shit. Power chords are really good for making a statement, but you gotta have a melody behind it. So that's where you need to know, the rest of the notes that are going on within what you're actually doing. The Econo Moose. If you woke up as Chris Hemsworth, what would you do? Well, I'm fucking Thor from the Avengers, bitch. The first thing I'd do is to finally hang up all of my Call of Duty posters by using my badass hammer and nails. And now it's time for the lightning round, no pun intended, to close us out. Dominic Funaro, can you start doing Let's Plays for certain single-player games? Well, I'm not much of a Let's Play kind of person, although I do watch some on YouTube, and I don't really play single-player games anymore. I have uploaded some Super Mario World, Rage highlights in the past, and they're pretty funny videos, but if I was going to do a Let's Play, I'd want to do one of those SNES RPG type games, like a Chrono Trigger, like a Secret of Mana, that type of game. However, that would take way too fucking long, though. Those are the only types of Let's Plays I like watching, is games that are really, really long that I don't feel like going and playing myself. Did you go to PAX? Sorry, I didn't ship up to Boston like the Dropkick Murphys. Also, did you play any sports when you were younger? If so, what sport and position? So I've answered this question already once in a previous episode, but I'll give you the Cliff Notes version here. In high school, I played football, offensive tight end, defensive tackle. Basketball, a 4 or a 5, which is either a power forward or a center. Believe it or not, I was one of the tallest kids in my school. And I also played baseball. I was a pitcher and a third baseman. I had a really, really strong arm, so I also played outfield sometimes. I was on an all-Long Island team for baseball and played for about a year in college before I decided getting drunk with friends is much better than going to practice. AKA Pursuit, I have a few questions. It is the lightning round, bitch, so let's go. What is your favorite field of science? I studied physics in high school and college. It's fascinating to figure out how the world around you works. Science is unbelievably powerful, especially once you get into advanced physics. I took a class on relativity, and I have no idea how I got a B+. What did I study in college? I studied computer science and software development, and I minored in binge drinking. What is the most enlightening / interesting experience you've ever had? It's got to be when I went on my honeymoon safari in South Africa. It was an amazing experience, and it changed my outlook on life entirely. I highly recommend going if you could afford it. I got some pictures and shit down in the description is my video from when I came back. Really, once you're out in a place where you could see just how nature behaves, it really changes how you think about things. And then last but certainly not least, what's your favorite movie to watch? Easy. The Hangover. It's hilarious, the plot is amazing, and every time it comes on, I must finish it. Holy shit, that was a long-ass video, but you guys went Canadian bacon in the comments section on my last video with your questions. If you got a question for me for next time, or if you want to discuss one of my answers, make sure you leave it in the comments section. This has been Getting to Know the Schwantz 27, making like a hot rod and peeling off. Until next time.